I hadn't been back in 6 years, deployed overseas, then working remote. When I drove up, I found 47 cars parked on my land with HOA permit only signs nailed to my trees. I didn't yell, didn't call the cops. I just walked into the HOA office, dropped my deed on the desk, and said, "Start towing. You're trespassing on private property." This land was my grandfather's pride. 3 acres of pines, creek, and red clay, deeded to him in 1952. I inherited it when he passed, built a small cabin, cleared trails, and marked every boundary with steel posts stamped with our family name. Then duty called. 6 years overseas, then remote work in the mountains. I kept paying taxes, hired someone to mow the edges, but left the heart of it wild. That's when Pine Ridge Estates expanded like kudzu, HOA fences creeping closer each year. They assumed silence meant surrender. When I didn't return, they paved my eastern acreage into a guest overflow parking lot, bolted gates, installed cameras, and handed out permit stickers like they owned it. They had no idea whose land they'd stolen. I rolled in at dawn, truck coated in dust from the interstate. The first thing I saw, 47 cars parked on my land, tires crushing the wildflowers my grandfather planted. HOA permit only signs were nailed to my oaks, right over my old boundary markers. I walked the perimeter. My steel pins were still there, buried under 2 inches of asphalt. I went straight to the HOA office, deed in hand. Diane Rollins, president, designer blazer, zero humility, took one look and laughed. "That land's been ours for years. Your paperwork must be outdated." She even threatened me with a $200 fine for unauthorized access. I asked for their survey. They had none. That night, I pulled county GIS maps, drone footage, and my grandfather's 1952 deed. Then I filed a quiet notice with the sheriff. Unauthorized encroachment on private property. Because in this country, ownership isn't about who's loudest. It's about who has the deed and the patience to enforce it. I returned at 7 a.m. with 2 licensed tow trucks and a notarized cease and desist. HOA security tried to block the gate. I handed them the sheriff's letter. "Remove all vehicles by 9 a.m. or face criminal trespass charges." Diane arrived in her Mercedes, heels clicking on asphalt, screaming, "You can't do this!" I calmly handed her a copy of my deed. "Actually, I can, and I'm billing the HOA $12,000 for illegal paving." One by one, cars got hooked. SUVs, sedans, even a golf cart. Neighbors rushed out in robes, confused. An elderly veteran squinted, then smiled. "Son, is that your grandpa's land?" I nodded. He saluted. By noon, the lot was empty. Just cracked asphalt and my steel property pins gleaming in the sun like silent sentinels. The HOA sued me, claiming adverse possession, arguing they'd used the land openly for years. Their lawyer dropped the case the moment I presented 70 years of tax receipts, aerial photos from the 1970s, and my grandfather's original deed. The county stepped in, ordered them to remove all asphalt within 30 days at their expense, and fined them $15,000 for illegal grading without permits. They were also required to replant native oaks and restore the creek buffer. Diane resigned after neighbors discovered she'd pocketed $8,000 in parking fees over 2 years. But the real victory? The county passed a new rule. All HOAs must verify land ownership with the assessor's office before any development. I hosted a land legacy day on the newly cleared lot, taught kids how to read deeds, find property pins, and respect boundaries. Even former HOA members came. One woman brought a white oak sapling. "Plant this where the asphalt was," she said. I did, and beside it, a new sign. "Private property, owned since 1952. Trespassers prosecuted." Neighbors now check deeds before complaining. Kids leave wildflowers on my fence. Some even sketch the property pins in their notebooks. My grandfather's cabin is restored, its porch filled with veterans on holidays, sharing stories under string lights. And that empty lot? It's growing back into forest. Oaks rising, creeks singing, silence returning. Out here, we don't need HOAs to tell us what's ours. Sometimes all it takes is one person coming home to remind everyone that land isn't taken, it's protected and honored and passed down, not paved over. If this feels familiar, it's because HOAs keep testing boundaries. In my last video, she called police over my backyard barbecue, didn't realize I'm her husband's FBI supervisor. I used federal protocol to win. This time, a 70-year-old deed did the talking. If your land's ever been disrespected, comment below. Smash like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because next week I expose how they tried to claim my creek as community water. Trust me, they regretted it.